Interim Three Lions boss Lee Carsley named his second squad. And the big news was that Dominic Solanke has received his first England call-up in 7 years. Phil Foden, Jude Bellingham also returned from injury, whilst Harry Maguire and James Maddison, two of the big names to have been left out. After announcing his latest squad ahead of the upcoming Nations League fixtures against Greece and Finland, Carsley sat down with talkSPORT's Faye Carruthers and he explained the thought process behind his selections.
I think we've always got to pick that team and base it around the balance and the way that we can win the game and hurt the opposition and get the best out of them players. Sometimes that might not always be the case in some games, but and you have to bear in mind as well is that all three players coming in top form and earning that right and that place in the team is a big thing as well. Looking at the squad, it's highly competitive. I think this is a good period as well in terms of the next 2 games and the 2 games after that. We can, bearing in mind how much the players have got going on at their clubs, we can share the minutes around and it be competitive in that respect.
Okay, so he's looking for that competition and that's what he's getting with the players that he's selected. But if we talk about Solanke then, 27 years old, has scored 3 goals in his past 3 appearances for Tottenham, now has the chance to add to his solitary cap that he earned back in 2017 as a sub against Brazil then in a friendly. How much has this deserved, this call-up for Solanke?
Well, yeah, I mean, he had a fabulous season last year with, obviously, Bournemouth. He had a big move. Ivan Toney's gone to Saudi Arabia. There was a hole in the squad because I always felt that if you go, it's not a definite, but I think if you go to Saudi Arabia, you've got a good chance of losing your chance of being in the England squad. And that's what's happened. Solanke's got himself going, got a few goals of late, and he's been announced in the squad, and Ivan Toney hasn't. So that doesn't surprise me at all.
He had such an amazing season last season for Bournemouth. He was very, perhaps you could argue, unlucky to not be a part of the Euro squad based on form, especially when you consider Ivan Toney didn't get the numbers that he got, albeit that Ivan Toney was banned, obviously, for a significant period of time. But still, in that sense, he was quite unlucky to miss out at a time when there were a lot of, let's say, out-and-out number 9s that Gareth Southgate could pick from.
Yeah, well...
Because there's only so many you can have in the team.
Callum Wilson was part of Qatar a few years back. He's had a few injuries. He's obviously missed a lot of football last season. Solanke stepped up. He was a young player I watched at Liverpool. He couldn't get going there. Maybe he was too young for that move, but he's done brilliant the last couple of seasons. So fair play to him. Do you know what one really interests me?
Go on.
The battle now between whether obviously Lee Carsley does this, but Cole Palmer and Saka.
Oh,
because if you play Cole Palmer, and I think his best position is not behind the strikers. I think it's off the right. I think he plays his best football off the right. Now, Saka's been absolutely brilliant for Arsenal and obviously England.
Yeah.
And Palmer is doing so well, it feels like everyone now thinks they got to make the team around Cole Palmer.
That's interesting you brought that up because most people are thinking the debate is between Palmer and Foden.
No, I think
with Bellingham in there as well. But
he does play. He can play behind the striker, but I think he plays his really best football on the right hand side.
But we're not seeing that with Chelsea this.
Well, he's done it. He's played there.
I know he has,
yeah.
but we've got Madueke on the right.
Yeah, Madueke
currently
is there. I think he plays his best football off the right. Now, okay, he scored 4 goals in a game. That he's not going to do that week in, week out, is he? He's in a real great period of form. But I can't imagine Saka's place being under threat. But if there ever is going to be a threat, it's going to be Cole Palmer if Lee Carsley goes for him on the right.
Okay, so if you were Lee Carsley, so let's just say this is your game, the Greece game, first of all.
Yeah.
Who are you picking for your forward line?
I'd still say Saka on the right. In front of Cole Palmer. And as much as it sounds crazy, is that there's so much trust in Harry Kane and what he's done with Bayern in England, his performances. I'm not sure if he'll slightly change. He will go with Harry Kane without a doubt, Lee Carsley. But would Kane's place be under pressure as much as anybody? Not initially, no. But I think that could happen because he's got so much option. I mean, look, what do you do with... We've talked about Cole Palmer. Bellingham's back. Where does Bellingham play? Where does Foden play? You're talking about all these players that have got incredible periods in their career. it's going to be a spinning plates job for him as a manager. And do you know what? That's what he's paid big money for. Is he's going to have to make some tough calls on who makes the starting lineup with England.
Would you pick Foden over Palmer in that 10?
Tight call. Don't know. I say I don't know, and it's not sitting on the fence here, is because I think it really comes down to your gut feeling, the week of the training, watching the two players, and you make that call in that week. Because there's so many, you could make an argument. Look, Phil Foden was Football Writers Player of the Season last year. So he's had a really big season. So you've got that issue in itself. And then you've got, obviously, Cole Palmer. Do you go central with him if you feel like he can play that position? He's an incredible talent.
Just very quickly, I know we've got to hit a break. Do you think James Maddison's England career is over?
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it because there's Bellingham, there's Cole Palmer, there's Foden, and
he's even brought in Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yeah, I mean, look, Eze's been left out.
Yeah.
I thought that, I'd still think he's got something to offer for England, Eze. I think he's a terrific footballer, but he's been left out.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.